Hey everybody, this is the ACS Racing Network, and I'm your host, JHE24, JM26, and you are listening to Cue the Duck.
One more time, please.
In the truck, please cue the duck.
Okay, so a big question I always get are about how I do my stop motions. And I know I could probably make a video on this, like showing me physically doing this, but I figured I could probably coach a couple people through this just simply through talking. It's kind of like a PowerPoint presentation. A big thing for stop motions is you have to keep yourself focused and mentally prepared. You have to sit down and say, hey, I'm going to spend 2 hours on this right now. Let's get something on TV, watch my favorite YouTuber, listen to music, watch a TV show, plug in a movie. And that's the big thing. I always have a TV in my room, just so I don't get bored. I have my phone by me if I want to watch, just listen to YouTube videos. I like the Game Grumps. They're good to listen to. They play video games, but it's almost just like a podcast where they just make funny jokes and play over the video game and whatnot. I like the H3H3 podcast. I like Ethan. He's cool. Just mentally prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for a long event. Because stop motions, they take time. And big tracks like Talladega and Indianapolis, if you make them big like how they should be, they can be intimidating. And you just kind of sit it. Because I have this problem too. I'll get the track up and set up and ready. And I'll just stare at the track for like 4 days. Like, wow, I have to embark on this journey. Talladega takes me about 45 to 50 minutes to do one lap, depending on how many cars are in the picture too, because Talladega is it's just crazy how many cars are in the picture. It could take me an hour to just do one lap. That's a lot of investment. That's a lot of time. You just have to mentally prepare yourself to say, hey, I want to do this. I want to make this my life. That's another big thing you have to risk is a lot of your social life. So the first one you risk is time. Know that it's going to take time. Set away that time. Set aside time to work in your stop motion. If you know you're going to be somewhere later in the week and you got to get your stop motion up on a deadline, if you want to, you have to set aside time in the week. Say, hey, I need to do 3 laps a day for a 9-lap race. That can be done. That's how I get to it. Set schedules, set time. Say, hey, you only did 1 lap yesterday. You have to make up for that. You have to do 5 laps today. Okay, game on. I got this. Now, that's just my mindset for like a Talladega or an Indianapolis. Indianapolis and Talladega, they take me probably, on average, an hour a lap, which is a lot of time for me. I don't know how long it takes most of you to do stop motions, but an hour a lap is a long time for me because on my normal cardboard tracks, like you see, like my Atlanta race, those laps can range anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 25 at the most. So that's a big difference. That's 3 laps an hour compared to 1 lap an hour. So those races are fun because I can knock those out no problem. And now another thing is you're risking your social life, which really has never been a big thing to me because if you watch my gaming channel, I'm friends with Spencer. And we've always been cool just hanging out, like maybe once a week or twice a week. We see each other on this, like during lunch breaks and stuff too. But we don't need to hang out all the time. And outside of Spencer, I do have friends, of course. I'm not just a one-friend person, but I don't need to hang out with someone to keep me company. I've always been fine as like a lone wolf. And when I'm with Holly doesn't mind. She sits on the bed and crochets while I work on my race. Just plug on The Office or something and hang out. It's a good time. And that's a big thing. You have to be willing to sacrifice. If you can't do that, then I don't think honestly, don't take this personally, but you probably can't be a stop motion animator if you can't take the time and risk social life. Now, don't miss family time. Family time has always been important. That's something I regret when I was young. I was so caught up in making stop motion videos that I lost track of family. So definitely don't skip out on family time. You have to spend time with your family. But social life, sometimes that stuff can wait. I mean, your friends got other friends. I hope. But if you can't miss a day or two without your friend, then I don't know, stop motion is probably not the way to go. I would probably say that introverts probably excel more at stop motion, because I'm kind of an in between, like introvert and extrovert. So that's a big thing. The next big thing is you have to get in a consistent rhythm. And that can be tricky because you have to learn that consistent rhythm. And that's something I can struggle with at a Talladega. You'll see my races be pretty choppy there. Because sometimes Talladega is so tough because you're moving so many cars. You forget who has the momentum. You forget who doesn't. And it can be chaos at times at Talladega. You can see the cars going kind of back and forth, switch momentum. But like in Atlanta, you have to, where you only have probably 3 cars in the frame at a time, like in Atlanta, you have to know who has the momentum coming off the turn. Say Kyle Busch uses the high line, Denny Hamlin's using the low line. Hamlin's going to have a better drive through the corner, but Kyle Busch is going to have the more momentum coming off the corner, and he's going to catch Hamlin down the backstretch. And you have to be conscious of that big time as you're filming. Maybe Kyle Busch has to pull a crossover. Make sure that crossover is pulled off perfectly and not choppy. So that's a big thing. You have to find a consistent rhythm, and with a consistent rhythm, you have to know how much to move the cars. And I think some of you probably move the cars not enough. You're not moving them far enough, and it's making the stop motion look like a wave, like it'll go slow then fast, slow then fast. I move probably the cars probably a quarter of an inch, I would say. I'd have to measure that. That'd probably be something for when I do a video version of this. But I probably move them anywhere from probably a quarter of an inch to 3/8 of an inch. Let's go with 3/8 of an inch. So that's a big thing. You have to find a consistent rhythm with your cars. You can't lose track. You have to remain focused. You have to know what's going on at all times. Talladega and Daytona, it's a little more forgiving, but at like an oval track where you only have so many cars in the shot. Now that's another thing, is if you watch my stop motions, I kind of like to have maybe 5 to 6 cars at most in a single shot at one time. And that's because I'm lazy. When there's cars not in a shot, don't waste your time. Don't move them. To me, that's almost a waste of time and energy, is not moving, is choosing to move the cars in the background, because you can just, I don't know, in a way, I don't know how to make, this kind of sounds bad on my part now, I'm giving away some secrets, but I don't know, you can kind of just say, hey, instead of having somebody try and pass someone on screen, you can just say, oh, they already passed them in the background of the shot, in a way. So I think a good way to get away with having cars, because that's my next point, is to make sure you're not overworking yourself. At Talladega, you're going to be moving a lot of cars in one frame. At Daytona, you're going to be moving a lot of cars in one frame. But like in Atlanta or Chicagoland, the leaders are going to break away from the pack, and maybe you only have to move 1 car in a frame at a time. Now, if I'm filming a second-place driver and the first-place driver's not in the shot, I always try and make sure I move the first-place driver. That way it doesn't look inconsistent. So if they're not in the shot, you still move them as you're moving the second-place driver. But don't waste the energy if you're doing a flyby. Don't move all the cars in one shot. Whatever car is in your shot, just move. And be cautious of what's in the background, because I get caught with this too. Is when I'm moving cars and I haven't moved them in a while, you'll see a car peep in right before, and then it'll peep out. Because I'm like, oh crap, I've just filmed 2 shots with this car. in the background, I'm too lazy to go back and fix it. Or I'm at like a road course and I got cars in the background that I'm not moving and I think they're not in the shot, but when I look back at what I'm recording, I see they're in the shot and I'm like, oh geez. They're not terribly in the shot, but they're still in the shot. So that's something I still struggle with, but advice, just make sure those cars are in your shot, the ones that you're not moving. And you don't, just like I said, don't overwork yourself. So this was kind of like a quick version of a how-to stop motion. I will do a better version later on. So let me know what you think. Is stop motion right for you? Was this helpful? What else would you like to know? Please let me know in the comments below and I can do another one of these. Another little spiel. So thanks everybody for listening. I appreciate your time. This is JG24, GM26, signing out.